Right, students, in this video class, I am going to discuss dioxygen, its preparation, properties, uses. The next one, simple oxides, and the next one, ozone, preparation, properties, and the next one, uses. So let me start with dioxygen. Right. First one, preparation of the dioxygen. Right, preparation. So this one we can prepare upon heating KClO3. When you heat the KClO3, this one undergoes thermal decomposition. This one undergoes decomposition and gives KCl plus oxygen gas. KCl plus oxygen gas. So to balance this equation, multiply with 2 here, and the next this one you multiply with 2 KCl, and here multiply with 3. So right, here 6 oxygens present, and here also 6 oxygens present. And the next one, we can prepare the dioxygen or oxygen gas by heating metal oxides Ag2O upon heating. This one gives Ag plus O2 gas. So here multiply with 4 and 4, and next one 2 moles of the oxygen. Right? So here Ag2O. Right? Better to take 2 moles, and here no need of this one. So here all are balanced. The next one, upon heating HCO. So this is mercurous oxide. So upon heating this one, we can get Hg plus O2. So multiply with the 2 here, and this one also multiply with 2. And the next one, hydrogen peroxide upon decomposition, this one also produce water. The next one, our desired product, that is oxygen. So to balance this, multiply 2 on both sides here. Right. And the next one, guys. Next one, upon electrolysis of the water. When water is subjected to electrolysis, then water upon electrolysis, this one can produce hydrogen gas, and the next one oxygen gas. So to balance this equation, multiply this one with 2, and here also multiply with 2. Okay. And next, last one, oxygen is obtained from the air. So now from the air, after removing the dust, air is converted as a liquid under the low temperature, and that liquid air is subjected to the fractional distillation. In the fractional distillation, so oxygen is separated at a particular temperature from the rest of the components present in the air. So guys, here these two are best methods to prepare the large scale of the oxygen gas. Next one, let us see properties. Properties of the oxygen gas. Properties of the oxygen gas. Right. First one. So oxygen is a colorless. Next, odorless gaseous substance. Oxygen is a colorless and odorless gaseous substance. And the next one, its freezing point is 55 kelvins, and its boiling point is 90 kelvins, and this is soluble in water. So which is soluble in water, and its solubility is 3.8 cc in 100 ml of the water. In 100 ml of the water, 3.8 centimeter cube volume of the oxygen is dissolved. So the living things which are present in water, they can live by inhale the oxygen which is dissolved in the water. And the next one, so this one can form. Oxygen has 3 stable isotopes. They are O16, O17, and the next one O18. So you know guys, the atomic number 81. So these are the stable forms of the isotopes of the oxygen. And the next one, right. Next one, so O2, which is a paramagnetic substance, which is paramagnetic in nature. So you know guys, in O2 we have two oxygen atoms. So each oxygen has 8 electrons. So total number of electrons in O2 16. So even though it containing even number of electrons, so this one shows paramagnetic nature. So the reason for that, so in the MO diagram of the oxygen, in its 5-star orbitals, two unpaired electrons present. Two unpaired electrons present. So due to the presence of these two unpaired electrons, so this one acts as a paramagnetic material. Right? And the next one, this one can react with so this one can oxidize the metals. Oxygen can oxidize the metals except platinum and the next one gold. So now let us see. Calcium reacts with oxygen and gives calcium oxide, and like that aluminium reacts with oxygen and gives Al2O3. So now here multiply with okay, so this one oxygen can oxidize the metals into the metal oxide, but you know platinum and gold, they are noble metals, so they won't oxidize by the oxygen. And next one, dioxygen can oxidize the non-metals also. Example, carbon, when it is treated with oxygen, we can get carbon dioxide, that is non-metal oxide, and when it is treated with phosphorus, then here we can get phosphorus pentoxide, P4O10. So we need to take 5 moles of the oxygen, and this one is unable to oxidize the non-metals, neon and next one helium, because these are highly inert materials, they have stable configuration, that's why they won't be oxidized by the dioxygen or oxygen gas. Right guys? So these are the properties of the oxygen, and the next one, uses. So uses of the oxygen. So right guys, so oxygen is essential gas in the respiration by the living things. So now this is used in the respiration. So oxygen is essential in the respiration of the animals. And the next one, which is used for the combustion. So the burning of any material in the presence of oxygen is known as the combustion. And next one, which is used to prepare the oxyacetylene. This oxyacetylene is used in the weldings. So right students, next one is ozone. So here also we need to discuss the preparation of ozone, and next one, properties, and last one, uses of the ozone. So these are the things we need to discuss in this concept. So right guys, so this ozone, you know, so this is the Earth atmosphere, this is the Earth planet. Around the Earth planet, so atmosphere present. Around the Earth planet, atmosphere present. Atmosphere means it is a blanket of the air present around the planet of the Earth. So now, when you move up 20 kilometers height from the surface of the Earth, so at the 20 kilometers height, the oxygen present in the atmosphere converts into O3. Oxygen present in the atmosphere converts into O3 in the presence of the sunlight. So now here ozone layer is present. This ozone layer is formed due to the conversion of the oxygen at 20 kilometers height in the presence of sunlight. So at the 20 kilometers height from the Earth's surface, oxygen converts into ozone in the presence of the sunlight. Now this ozone layer protects us from the UV radiation. This ozone layer protects us from the UV radiation, which is harmful radiation. So this one won't allow into the Earth atmosphere due to the presence of the ozone layer. So right, next one, this ozone layer is unstable. At the sea levels. At the sea levels, this ozone layer decomposes to give oxygen gas. Right? Okay. So now let us see the preparation of the ozone. So preparation of the ozone. So ozone is prepared by passing dry oxygen by passing the dry oxygen through the silent electrical discharge. Right? So O3 formation takes place when dry oxygen is passed through the silent electrical discharge. So here the usage of this one is necessary because this one prevent the decomposition of the O3. That's why we need to use the silent electrical discharge. So now you can see the reaction here. So 3 moles of the oxygen 3 moles of the oxygen converts into 2 moles of the O3. So now for this reaction, delta H equals to positive 142 kilojoule per mole. So now from this value we can say that guys, which is highly endothermic reaction. So when dry oxygen is passed through the silent electrical discharge, ozone is formed, and for this reaction delta H equals to positive plus 142 kilojoule per mole. So that is endothermic reaction. So next we need to discuss about the properties of the ozone. So next one, properties of the ozone. So right guys, first one, so ozone is a pale blue gaseous substance. When it is in gaseous substance, so the color of the ozone is pale blue. And next one, when it is in liquid state, so this is present in the dark blue color. And next, when it is present in the solid state, which is present in the violet black color. So these are the various colors of the ozone when it is present in different physical states. And next one, this one gives characteristics odor. This one gives characteristics odor. And next one, when it is present in small concentration levels, which is harmless. So ozone, when it is present in small concentration level in the atmosphere, which is harmless, when the concentration reaches 100 parts per million in the atmosphere, then breathing will be difficult, and that one leads to the vomiting, and next one, headache. So the small concentration of the ozone is harmless. When the concentration levels of the ozone reaches 100 parts per million in the atmosphere, that one leads to the breathing difficulty, and the next one, that one leads to the vomiting, and the next one, headache. Right. Next one. Okay. So next one here, this ozone comparing with O2, thermodynamically this is less stable, or oxygen is more stable thermodynamically comparing with O3, and this O3 decomposes to give oxygen gas. 2 moles of the O3 decomposes to give 3 moles of the oxygen gas, and for this reaction delta H equals to minus 142 kilojoule per mole. So from this we can say that this reaction is exothermic reaction. And for this reaction the change in entropy is also positive because number of moles are increases here. So now here delta S, that is entropy, is positive, and next one delta H equals to negative. So now from this we can find out what about the delta G. So you know that delta G equals to delta G minus T delta S. So now delta G is a negative value here. Minus and T, so this is a positive term, and delta S, so this is also a positive term. So finally you can get here one positive value. So now here negative value and negative into positive value can produce negative value. Negative value and negative value can produce a negative value. So now guys, for this reaction delta G is equals to negative. It means that which is a spontaneous reaction. so which is highly spontaneous reaction, because for this the change in Gibbs free energy equals to negative. So right, next one, O3 is acts as a strong oxidizing agent, because when one molecule of the O3 decomposes, it gives O2 molecule and the next one oxygen. So this is known as nascent oxygen, which is highly active, and next one which is highly reactive, which is highly energetic. So now due to the release of that one, this one is acts as a good oxidizing agent, and this one can oxidize PbS. This one can oxidize, ozone can oxidize the PbS, lead sulfide, to the lead sulfate, PbSO4, and we can get 4 moles of the O2 here. So in this molecule, sulfur has -2 oxidation state, and the next one, in this case, sulfur has +6 oxidation state. So now here this one oxidized. So here in the presence of this one, ozone, lead sulfide oxidizes to lead sulfate, and the next one, this one can oxidize the iodide present in the potassium iodide. When this one is treated with O3 in the presence of the water, then here we can get I2 gas, and the next one 2 moles of the potassium hydroxide, 2 moles of the potassium hydroxide, and next one we can get the oxygen gas. So now you see here, in this molecule potassium has -1 oxidation state. In the elemental form or molecular form, this one has 0 oxidation state. So oxidation state decreases -1 to 0 here. So here this is a oxidation process. So here we can say that this ozone acts as a strong oxidizing agent. This one can oxidize the substances like lead sulfate, lead sulfide, and next one potassium iodide. So right guys, next one, ozone depletion. So there are few reasons for the ozone depletion. Ozone depletion. So right guys, jet planes. So jet planes, they can fly. Okay, so they flies in the stratosphere. So jet planes, they fly in stratosphere. In stratosphere, ozone layer present. In stratosphere, ozone layer present. So now this jet planes can release the nitric oxide or nitrogen monoxide. Now this nitrogen monoxide shows more tendency to react with the ozone, and here we can get nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. So now in the ozone layer, when NO is released by the jet planes, this NO reacts to the O3 molecules present in the ozone layer, and this O3 turns into O2. So it means when O3 is turned as O2, then holes are formed in the ozone layer. So that is known as ozone duplication. And the next one, chlorofluorocarbons. So these are also acts as a ozone layer depleters. So right guys, next one. So right guys, next one, the estimation of the quantitative estimation of the ozone in an unknown sample. So we can find out, or we can estimate the how much amount of the ozone is present in a given sample by treating with potassium iodide O3. Unknown amount of the O3 when it is treated with potassium iodide. So we can get here iodine gas, and the next one potassium hydroxide, and oxygen gas we can get 2 moles of the potassium, and here we can get 2 moles of the KOH. In the presence of water, this one takes place. H2. So now here this I2 is titrated with sodium thiosulfate Na2S2O3. So here this one is titrated with Na2S2O3. Then we can get here Na2S4O6. When you balance this, you can get 2 here. And the next one we can get 2 moles of the sodium iodide. So now you see guys here in this reaction 1 mole of iodine is completely reacts with 2 moles of the Na2S2O3. So 2 moles of the Na2S2O3 is required to react with 1 mole of the I2. So now from this reaction, you see here 1 mole of I2 is formed when 1 mole of O3 is reacting with the potassium iodide. So now from the above reaction, 1 mole of O3 reacts with 1 mole of I2. So now guys, from these calculations we can determine how much amount of the ozone is present in a given unknown sample. So like this we can estimate the ozone quantitative. Right. And the next one, structure. Structure of the ozone. So right, ozone has angular structure. So now here this one is connected with 1 bond. So around this one 3 lone pairs present. This one is connected with 3 bonds. So around this one 1 lone pair present, and around this one 3 lone pairs present. So this is sigma, and this one also is sigma, and this bond is 5 bond. And this 5 bond is delocalizes, and here the shifting of 5 bond takes place from here to here. Then we can get one more resonating structure, that one is present like this. O double bond O, and which is the 5 bond, and sigma, and next one sigma bond. So now from these two resonating structures we can write the resonance hybrid like this. Right guys, now here the length of the bond, 2 bonds are identical, because here this 5 bond is not localized at a particular position. This is in delocalization. That's why here both bonds are identical, and this bond length is 128 picometers, and next one this bond angle is 117 degrees. And the next one guys, uses of the ozone. Right. So first one, ozone is used as a germicide. This one is used as a germicide. And the next one, this is used as a disinfectant. This one used as a disinfectant. And next one, ozone is used to bleach the oil. And next one, ozone is used to bleach the oil and ivory. And next one, flour. Let me write here. So this ozone is used to bleach. Ozone is used to bleach the oil, ivory, and ivory means teeth related. And the next one, to bleach the flour, and the next one, this is used to bleach the starch. Right. So this one is used as a germicide, and the next one disinfectant, and this is used to bleach the oil, ivory, flour, and the next one starch. And the next one, this is used as a oxidizing agent in the making of potassium permanganate, in the manufacture of the potassium permanganate KMnO4. So right guys, this is about the ozone. So right guys, next topic, simple oxides. So simple oxides are binary compounds of oxygen with other elements. Simple oxides are the compounds of oxygens with other elements. So examples we can take CO2 and the next one we can take Na2O and CaO and MgO. So here these all are the simple oxides. So this one is a binary compound of oxygen and carbon. So in this one, two elements are there, carbon and oxygen, and this is also made up of two elements, sodium and the next one oxygen, like that, which is made up of calcium and oxygen. So these all are the binary compounds of oxygen with the other elements. So these are examples for the simple oxides. So these simple oxides are classified into four types based on their nature. So first one is acidic oxide, and the second one basic oxides, the next one, third one is amphoteric oxides, and the fourth one neutral oxides. So the oxides which produce acid when they are dissolved in water are known as acidic oxides. So the oxides which can produce acid when they are dissolved in water are known as acidic oxides. So examples here, CO2, SO2, and the next one we can take SO3. So these are examples for the acidic oxides, because when you dissolve them in water, they give respective oxides. For example, you take SO3. This SO3, when it is dissolved in water, we can get sulfuric acid, H2SO4. And the next one, SO2. SO2, when it is dissolved in water, this one gives H2. This one gives H2SO3. So which is H2SO4 is sulfuric acid, and which is sulfurous acid, like that CO2. So CO2, when it is dissolved in water, this one gives H2CO3, which is known as carbonic acid. So these all are the acidic oxides because they can produce acids when they are dissolved in water. And the next one, basic oxides. Basic oxides means they are the oxides they can give bases when they are dissolved in water. Example, CaO, MgO, and Na2O, and the next one K2O. So when these oxides are dissolved in water, they can produce bases. So CaO, when it is treated with water, so this one produces calcium hydroxide, CaOH taken twice. And the next one, if you take Na2O, this one when it is dissolved in water, we can get NaOH. So then we can get here 2 moles of the NaOH. And next one, amphoteric oxides. So they can react with acids, and next one bases. It means they have both natures. They have acidic nature and next one basic nature. Example for the amphoteric acid, Al2O3. This Al2O3 can react with acid HCl, 6 moles of the HCl, and this one can produce AlCl3, 2 moles of the AlCl3, and this one can produce water, H2O. So water is 3 moles. So now this is acid, and this one is on reacting with acid giving salt, and next one water. So it means that this one is acting as a base here. This one is acting as a base. And the next one, this Al2O3 can react with base, that is sodium hydroxide, and this one can produce sodium aluminate, NaAlO2 plus water. 2 moles of the NaOH and 2 moles of the NaAlO2. This is sodium aluminate. So here which is base, this one on reacting with base giving salt, and the next one water, means that this one has here acidic character. And the next one, neutral oxides. Which oxides are known as neutral oxides? So the oxides which are neither acidic nor basic are known as neutral oxides. The oxides which are neither acidic nor basic are known as neutral oxides. Example, carbon monoxide, and the next one NO, nitrogen monoxide, and the The next one N2 nitrous oxide, which is also known as laughing gas. So these are neither acidic nor basic. They won't give either base or acid when they are dissolved in water. So these are examples for the neutral oxides. So this is about simple oxides, guys.